All right, welcome to today's explainer. I am genuinely thrilled you're joining us because we are about to embark on a really fascinating and honestly, a highly practical diagnostic journey. We're going to completely demystify induction cooktops. They often look and feel like pure magic in the kitchen, right? But underneath that sleek glass surface is a world of pure logical engineering. Today, we're structuring our approach really carefully. We'll be stepping from the absolute most basic user errors all the way up to advanced electrical repairs. So whether you're dealing with a stove that simply refuses to turn on, or you're ready to grab a multimeter and dig in, we've totally got you covered.
Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. We're going to start with simple fixes and common errors, move right into touch panel troubleshooting, and then escalate to advanced repair by testing fuses. After that, we'll decode those tricky internal faults and error codes and wrap the whole thing up with proper care and maintenance.
All right, Section 1, simple fixes and common errors. We're talking about eliminating the absolute basics here. So ask yourself, is your cooktop actually broken, or is it, well, just a little confused? Before you jump to assuming there's some massive hardware failure, you really have to consider the environment the stove is in. Are you experiencing a genuine mechanical failure, or is it simply a matter of power supply issues? A tripped circuit breaker or even a wall switch that accidentally got bumped can mimic a totally dead appliance perfectly. Also, blocked air vents under the counter can cause the system to overheat and trigger an automatic safety shutdown. It makes it look like it's broken when really it's just protecting itself. And that brings us to the absolute simplest, most effective diagnostic trick in the book, the magnet test. Since induction technology relies entirely on electromagnetism, if a basic refrigerator magnet won't stick firmly to the bottom of your pan, the stove's pan detection system just isn't going to recognize it. It simply won't heat up. It'll just sit there and beep at you. You absolutely need magnetic, flat-based cookware like cast iron or specific stainless steel, rather than aluminum or non-magnetic copper. So let's walk through those fundamental checks to rule out the obvious. First up, check the power plug and the wall switch. Next, take a quick look at your home's fuse box or circuit breaker. Then, peek under the counter to make sure the appliance's air vents aren't being blocked by, say, stray plastic bags or cutting boards. Blocked vents restrict critical airflow and will definitely trigger that automatic thermal shutoff we talked about. If that happens, you really just need to wait for the unit to cool down completely. And finally, always verify your pan is perfectly centered right on the cook zone. Moving right along to Section 2, touch panel troubleshooting. Time to fix those frustrating control problems. Now, to really troubleshoot the panel, we need to talk about capacitive sensing. This is the exact technology these touch panels use. They don't detect physical pressure. Instead, they're actually detecting the natural electrical conductivity of your bare fingers. So if you've got wet hands, oven mitts on, or even just greasy fingertips from prepping meatballs, the controls will flat out ignore you. And let me tell you, nothing is quite as panic-inducing as a boiling pot of pasta threatening to overflow while your stove stubbornly refuses to turn down the heat just because your hands are slightly damp. You know how sometimes your laptop or smartphone just hangs? Well, the software running that touch panel can do the exact same thing. That brings us to the cold reboot process. Step 1, switch off the power entirely at the main circuit breaker. Step 2, and this is vital, wait 3 to 5 minutes. You literally must wait to allow the internal capacitors to fully discharge their stored energy. Then Step 3, turn the power back on and test. A simple cold reboot like this can reset the main control board and clear out lingering software glitches instantly. There are a few other sneaky things that can mess with your panel. The top culprit, the classic child lock. If you see lock or a little padlock icon, your panel is simply locked. Literally, just holding the lock button for 3 to 5 seconds clears this. I cannot stress enough, this is the #1 cause of unnecessary, highly expensive service calls. Also, watch out for moisture from heavy steam, electromagnetic interference from nearby toasters or microwaves, or just resting a heavy metal spoon directly on the control area. Touch panels are designed for single-point contact, so mashing multiple buttons at once is just going to confuse the system. All right, stepping it up a notch, Section 3, Advanced Repair, specifically testing fuses. Let's get into some internal electrical fixes. Now, before we even think about opening up the appliance, safety is absolutely non-negotiable. You must turn off the power at the breaker before opening the unit. Always use insulated tools and make sure you're working on a non-conductive surface like wood or plastic. Remember, never touch internal metal parts directly with your bare hands. It's always best practice to wear insulated gloves and safety goggles. Induction cooktops handle massive amounts of voltage, so we do not take chances here. Okay, so the most common internal failure you're going to see is a blown fuse.
And to test a fuse, we check for continuity. Let's define that real quick. It's the presence of a complete, unbroken path for current to flow. When you use a digital multimeter, continuity is usually indicated by a sharp, really satisfying beep. That beep is exactly what your multimeter is listening for when you're checking to see if a fuse is intact or if the internal wire has melted and blown. Setting up your multimeter is actually pretty straightforward. First, always carefully remove the fuse from its holder so you get a truly accurate reading. Second, set your multimeter dial to the continuity setting. It usually looks like a little diode or a sound wave symbol. Third, place your red and black probes on each end of the fuse. Honestly, it doesn't matter which color goes where. Finally, just listen. A beep means the fuse is good to go. No beep, or display reading OL, which stands for open loop, means the internal wire is broken and that fuse absolutely needs replacing. This is basically your highly practical cheat sheet for those abstract electrical concepts. If you're doing a continuity test and you get no beep or it shows infinite resistance, yep, your fuse is blown. If you're checking voltage across the holder while it's live, which, by the way, requires extreme caution, and there's absolutely no voltage passing through, the fuse is blown. Just keep this reference in mind whenever you're diagnosing electrical parts. Moving on to Section 4, Internal Faults and Error Codes. It's time to decode exactly what your appliance is trying to tell you.
There's this really great quote from a master fix-bond technician that goes, "Replacing these parts without finding the root cause will lead to repeated failure." And honestly, that is our core troubleshooting philosophy right there. You can't just swap out a blown fuse without asking why it blew in the very first place. A blown fuse is usually just a symptom of a much larger short circuit somewhere else on the board. When your cooktop fails, it's actually trying to tell you what's wrong. Now, different brands might vary a bit, but error codes generally follow a set pattern. E0 usually means no pain is detected. E1 through E4, those often point to power supply issues or localized overheating. E5 and E6 are critical. This means the over-temperature protection is activated, which could be a blocked fan or even a drifting temperature sensor. E7 and E8 often trigger when a surge protector catches a spike in the grid voltage. Basically, the machine is practically shouting the root cause right at you. It is so vital to understand the difference between these two major hardware failures. If you've got a touch membrane failure, the display lights up just fine, but the buttons are totally dead to your touch. That means the glass interface itself is faulty. But if you have a control board failure, the display is completely dark and totally unresponsive, meaning the actual brains of the unit are dead. Knowing this exact distinction tells you what part is failing and helps you recognize exactly when it's time to stop DIYing and call in a licensed professional. Now, for the advanced DIYers tuning in, let's briefly expose some of those deeper electrical faults. When a fuse blows, it's very often protecting the rest of the circuit from a blown IGBT. That's the insulated gate bipolar transistor module. That's the part that switches massive power to the induction coils. Other common culprits include failing 300-volt filter capacitors, loose solder joints from years of heating up and cooling down, damaged rectifier bridges, or NTC thermistors that have drifted, which causes the stove to completely misread temperatures and create highly unstable heating. All right, bringing it home with Section 5, proper care and maintenance. Let's talk about preventing these faults before they even happen. When you're dealing with heavy spills, we're talking accidental plastic melts or those boiling hot, sugary messes, you have to act carefully. First thing, lock the controls so you don't accidentally turn anything on. Then grab a glass scraper, hold it at an angle, and safely move the spill over to a cool area of the cooktop. It can feel a bit like playing a high-stakes game of Operation, but it lets you remove the residue without scratching up that incredibly expensive glass surface. As for everyday maintenance, you really want to apply a dedicated cooktop cleaner and wipe it down daily with a damp cloth or a microfiber pad. Just follow that up by drying it right away. It's a simple daily ritual, but it removes that invisible grease and micro residues that confuse and degrade those highly sensitive capacitive touch sensors we learned about earlier. But equally important is what we absolutely do not recommend. I'm giving a strict warning here against using scouring pads, abrasive stainless steel cleaners, or standard dishwashing detergents. Those things are going to leave nasty residues or, even worse, create micro scratches that permanently damage the finish and completely ruin the touch sensitivity of the glass. Seriously, treat it like a giant tablet screen, not a cast iron skillet. Well, we have certainly covered this spectrum today, from wet fingers on touch panels all the way down to blown internal fuses. So I'll leave you with this one question. Will you repair your cooktop today or simply master its maintenance for tomorrow? By understanding the actual tech behind the glass, you're now completely empowered to take control of your kitchen tech. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, stay curious.